Let me introduce you to Niiamah Ashong. You know, for most of Niiamah's life, he thought of himself as the only. He was one of the only students of color in his gifted class. He was one of the only people in his high school to be accepted into an Ivy League university. He was one of the only graduates to pursue a career as an actuary, and one of the only black actuaries in his field and black employees in his tech company. And for most of his life, being the only felt like the thing that almost was holding him back. One of my very favorite quotes in life is, don't be the best in the world at what you do. Be the only person in the world who does what you do. And that's what Niiamah has been stepping into in the last few years. He's an outlier, he's a pioneer, and he's a maverick. And when you put those three things together, it describes the people he works with. Outliers who are doing things that most people ever could. Pioneers who are the first people doing these things. And mavericks who are one of a kind. What I love about Niiamah is that those people are often out on their own by definition. And he's building a community of these mavericks and pioneers and outliers and bringing them together. So I'm thrilled to be able to introduce to you a maverick, a pioneer, and an outlier who realizes that being the only is actually one of the biggest gifts you could have.
Thank you so much, Rich, for that lovely introduction. So I will. Thank you so much, Rich, for that lovely introduction. Hey, y'all. I'm happy to come and play with all of you here. This is actually really fun for me. There's a number of different things that are playing out in my mind. And right now, one of the things that's showing up is this video of Will Smith. I'm not going to bring it into this particular session because it's a bit of a long time, but he's on the Tonight Show or maybe the late night show, one of the late nights with Jimmy Fallon, and Will Smith he gets introduced for his movie, and he walks into the room, and there's like beautiful music being played, and he walked in and he does like the Will Smith, like, "Hey, how are you? It's good to see you." And then he sits down and they start getting into the interview, and then Will looks up, he's like, I didn't really make that entrance yet. Like, you see the people here, like they deserve more. I'm gonna do that again. And he comes in, and he does like that entrance again and again until he feels that it's really there. So Matt, I really actually appreciate that here. This is my own Will Smith moment here. I'm like, I wonder how that would play out. And just like lovely serendipity just brings it all into play. Awesome. Hey everyone. Okay. It is lovely serendipity that brings us all here together, and I'm really excited to play with each of you today. I wrote down before I got here, I was like, okay, I know the title of this session, Don't Be a Potato, Cultivating Everyday Brilliance Every Day. And then I'm like, okay, what does that mean? And what does that mean for me? And what does that mean for y'all? And I think that for me, the way that I want to play this brilliance session is to give you an experience of my brilliance while experiencing your brilliance, right? This is not, I have no intention of this being a speech of some sort. I'll share some of the practices that I've seen, but the main thing is for us to be in this space and leverage it. I'm seeing that there's enough people here that we can actually play in different ways. So this what I had planned is also just getting shifted in real time as we speak. So what I want to do, we're all part of this 4PC Accelerator experience. And one of the things that that really caught my attention was to really serve the person that's in front of you. Serve the person that's in front of you. So I'd love to create some agreements that we can do that in this space for ourselves, right? The element here is like, I'm not worried about any replay. Like, if I am here for each and every one of you who are here right now. And I know deep in my heart that like whoever sees this later on will be served because we got served. So my invitation to you here, right? There's a number of us in this space. My invitation to you is to be selfish. Please, 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 please be selfish throughout this conversation. And it is a conversation that we'll have. And I like to say be selfish, because I can look around here, I can see all of you, and I know that you are givers. You would not be in this space if there wasn't an element of you that likes to contribute and give to the world. And my invitation here is that if you're willing to focus on self for a little bit, if it feels easier, be self-interested. That's okay. But like, if you're willing to bring that into this space, we'll have a better opportunity of dealing with and handling what's real for each of us here. All right. So if you are, I'll say this, comfortable being uncomfortable, being selfish within this space here, can you just like raise your hand and just let's see if we can get into agreement around that? I'm looking around here. I am seeing hands. Thank you for coming back on. Show the video. Wonderful. Awesome. So that's the first thing. The second thing here is with me, like, I'm really, when it comes to my brilliance right now, one of the things that is showing up is the element of practice. I can be very intellectual. I can talk about things. I can be very conceptual. That's something that I found out as a member of 4PC. And what I want to try and do here is take us out of concepts and bring it down into the practical. When it comes to the practical for me though, like, I'm also a meta person. Like, I'm not someone that's gonna like say, let's like, here goes fish. I'm gonna like teach you how to fish. And I'm like, this is where fish comes from, like all of that. So when we get into the practical, what that means for me is that we're gonna spend time actually practicing, right? So this is a session here where like the invitation is to practice bringing out what it is that your everyday brilliance, to practice playing out in different ways, to practice it in this space here, and really just use this container as a place to stretch yourself out, to try something different, to try something new, to be held and to expand, like, because that's what the game is all about. So if you are open to practicing throughout this conversation, let me just see a show of hands. All right. Yeah, I'm seeing some begrudgingly putting it up there and everything. I do see you, and I acknowledge your practice just in this moment here. Oh, I love that. My thing was, I'm like, if I can make one person feel just slightly uncomfortable in this conversation, I've already done it. Thank you, Wendy. I see you. And I'm like, that's what's real. Right? That's like, you're already starting to experience the brilliance there. There's already information that's coming through. So I want to just let you know, I'm a meta person. Like, throughout, as we go on, I'll call out different things and have you be able to look at it from a different perspective. When I say meta, what I mean, I think I already explained it. So I think I'm gonna let that go. Let's see, what else do I want in this space here? Okay, there's one more thing I'll put out here. I don't know how it'll play, but I figure if we bring it out early enough, we can have some fun with it. The session is called "Don't Be a Potato," and I'm going to get into what that all means in just a little bit. Actually, I feel like it's important to explain that first, and then I'll bring in the rest of this here. I was going to write a poem. There's a poem that's coming, and then when I thought of the poem, I was like, oh, there's this. I'm learning a bass guitar. It's sitting right behind me. I just learned like this four chord progression. I was like, I'm going to make a song to that. It will come. The poem did not flow out of me today, so you're not getting poem. But we are going to have some fun with this. Don't be a potato. Don't be a potato. What you're experiencing right now is chapter 1 of the book that I'm writing. Don't be a potato. And we are actually in this process. This is part research project, part brilliance session, part whatever else it needs to be, because this is what that entire chapter is around. I live in Singapore now. I've been living here for the last 3 years. And each of those 3 years, it's actually just about the time. It's almost 4 now. But each year we hold a Friendsgiving. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. We all come together, our family comes together. There's a lot of food. There's a lot of just positivity, but then there's also a lot of appreciation. I love Thanksgiving. Being out here in Singapore, it's not a Singaporean holiday. So we've created it ourselves through our Friendsgiving, and we invite people over to come and experience that with us. Well, last year at our Friendsgiving, I was walking and talking to one of the friends that we invited. We had 40 people over, and it was like this nice potluck. And one of the friends came up to me and she said, wow, like, Niiamah, I just got to let you know, I am so glad I'm not a potato. And I was like, Uh, I'm glad you're a human as well. But like, what's up with that? And she said, I'm looking around. I've had conversations with all of these different people here at this in this space, and no one here is the same, and no one here is like bland. There's something independently interesting about each and every person. We have jackfruits, we have like durians. Durians are like a special fruit out here in Southeast Asia. But there was just all these different. She was just like, no one here is a potato. And she's like, and that really like just struck me. I was like, I have never ever heard anyone describe an experience of me in that way. But that was really that's really how I choose to play, to find who are the people who are independently interesting, the individual outliers, the individual pioneers, the individual mavericks, those who are one of the only, one of the first, or one of a kind in most things that they do. And how do we bring us all together so we get to see that part of you? That part gets a chance to shine, and we get a chance to collaborate and co-create and go on from there. So welcome to my Friendsgiving. You know, this is our space here. Like you don't have to bring out any food and anything like that. But like that's the spirit of this year. We're a number of friends bringing out what makes us independently interesting. And my invitation here around this will be the last thing I think we need to put into this space here, or we can put into space, is I want to play. And the idea of don't be a potato feels fun for this. I'm like, if we're going to really practice, how can we do this? And so I'm going to introduce this here. We'll be able to, this is going to be a conversation. We'll be able to talk and see different things and have different experiences come to light. Whether we're in the chat or whether we're in a conversation, my invitation is at any point, if you personally are feeling something, feel free to call out the word potato. And if you do, let that be an indication for whoever, like whoever's talking, you can at them, whatever it is. If at any point it feels like the person is being generic or diminishing themselves, like if there's anything that you feel like they're holding back, just throw out the potato. They can choose how they want to play. They might be like, look, and this is something I think is really important. I say don't be a potato, but at the same time, if you are a potato, please be the most potato-y potato that's in here. Like if you're a potato, own that. I want that. Bring that starchiness, you know? Like that's the space. Oh, a sweet potato. I see that, Danielle. Like nice. Like not just a potato, like this is my flavor. This is my bit. So I just want to be able to play in this space here. All right. And the idea is that we'll practice this in different ways in this space so that you can see some of the impact of how you showing up as you translates for really powerful people in this space. And then you can go back out into your world and have that bit more of translating that courage that it might take to do it in here into confidence out in every other part of your life. I want you to think for a little bit here, because this is important. Like you're going to leave this session and you're going to have a chance to play right now. You're going to leave this session. You're going to know more about yourself or bring out more of that which makes you unique. I want you to think for just 15 seconds. How, if you're able to do that in one instance within the next 7 days, think about your meetings, think about the things that you have on your calendar. If you're able to like really show up for yourself in that one way where they're like, this person's distinct. I know why I'm calling up this person right now, right? What would that offer to you? What would become possible? I just want to kind of like get us to check in on that. Take 15 seconds for that. And then we'll keep playing. You're also seeing some of my brilliance. I'm not here to tell you what you're going to get out of this session. I invite you to figure that out for yourself and then make sure that no matter what happens, you get it. And we have space for that. I'm excited for that. Awesome. So I'm really curious. I'm curious why you came. The session was called Don't Be a Potato, and you showed up. There's something here that I think is really interesting, and I want to know what we're playing with here. Why are you here in particular? Yeah, so I'm seeing a hand from Dorothy. I'd love to bring Dorothy on. I'm seeing Georgie. Everyone else, if you can start putting it into the chat as well. I would love to just see what's in the room. What are we working with? I'm happy to completely toss out everything I have to really serve who is here. So let's go with Dorothy first and then Georgie.
So I feel totally connected to everything that you're saying, because I feel like I'm that person. Like the first thing you said, when you said, don't be a potato, the first thing I thought was, well, it's because I'm the gravy. And I'm the thing that makes the potato be more than just a potato. So where I struggle is how to capitalize on it. If you talk to anybody who knows me, they'll say there's 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, but there's 2 degrees of Dorothy Liu. I'm a connector. And I'm working through like why that is, but I feel like I'm really good at creating community. I just don't know what to do with it when it's created. So the other day, I gave myself a challenge to talk to 100 Asian female leaders. And I just threw it out on Facebook and made it public. And I got 25 in the first 24 hours. Now I'm like, shit, these people are like CEOs of they're my fives. I have no idea what I'm gonna do with these people now that I have this list, and it's growing. Like more and more people are coming in every day with, you need to meet this person. I've always thought you should know this person. And I'm gonna get to a list of 100 pretty quickly. I have no fucking idea what I'm going to say to them. And that terrifies me. It's like, I've always liked connecting people and then I leave and let them do their magic and then I leave. And I feel like that's where I'm stuck. And that's why I'm here.
Thank you for bringing that into the room, Dorothy. Who else can identify with, there was a couple different places in there, but who else can identify with that? I know me in particular, I thought partnerships, being able to pull out, okay, I can bring people into a room, but what do I do next? And who can I go to help me figure that out? Oftentimes, as someone who's thinking in different ways than others, I run into a place where I'm like, I don't know who to call. I don't know who to call. I don't know how to even articulate this. Will this be able to go forward? That's how that resonated with me in particular. But I'm curious, as who else has had an experience of that in some way, shape, or form for themselves? Just let me see a quick show of hands. Yeah. All right. Yeah, you're not alone. Let's see. Thank you for bringing this in here. I've captured this. Capitalizing. I wrote capitalizing on the gravy. I realized that I probably should have made it sound more, but capitalizing on who you are. Right. We're going to be talking through this here, and I think that's really one of the important parts here. So there's the step of, okay, are you in alignment? Do you know it? Are you willing to bring it out there? And how do you use that to be able to actually command fees, to get the types of clients that you want, to really be that remarkable oddball, or that, yeah, I think it's remarkable oddball, but to really be in that space where people just know you and you're able to turn that into whatever it is that you're looking to get to. I think that I'm happy you brought that in here. I'll make sure we spend some time exploring that here in some way, shape, or form. And if not, we'll create more space afterwards. Awesome. Thank you, Dorothy. Great to have you here. Georgie, why don't you go ahead? And keep reading each other's in the comments. Keep that conversation going. I'll focus on who's talking right now, but if I can, I'll get back into the comments as well.
Thank you, Niiamah. So why did I attend today? Firstly, it's because it's your session. And when I joined 4PC back in February, you were my first connection when I felt like a complete outlier. We all suddenly had to connect, and you were the one that came over. So I'm like, I want to see you today. I want to see you in your brilliance. So that was the first thing. And the second thing is, I love the description of your brilliance session. It really sung to me about understanding your distinct impact. You talked about leveraging your greatest gifts. And I'm still embryonic in understanding my zones of brilliance and my zones of genius. And as I said in my brilliance session the other day, it was Wendy, Mandy, and Shelley who really, over the last few months, have helped me distill and crystallize the value that I bring. but that's challenging because we can't see ourselves the way that others see us. So it really called to me, and I loved the description. It ignited me, and I was like, I want more of this. So that is why I'm showing up today.
Awesome. Thank you, Georgie. I appreciate you putting that out here. And this feels like a good time to reveal what I don't want you to know about me. What I don't want you, I mentioned this before, I'm a recovering people pleaser. In 4PC, I was given the persona name of Misunderstood Chameleon. And that actually just seems to still flow through. So I before we came here, I was like, Dorothy, similar to this, I'm like, I don't really know what I'm going to do with people when they get here. I don't know if there's going to be no people here or if there's going to be 30 people here. And like, how can I like craft something that'll be meaningful depending on all of that there? And so I went back in my chameleon and was like watching all these everyone else's Brilliance session. And then the fun part there was just be able to say, okay, great. Now that I've seen it all, I can let all that go and just be here. I got a chance to watch yours, Georgie. Thank you for bringing all that into the mix. And yeah, we'll continue to play. I think, Dorothy, there's an element here that I want to also call out, I think might also tie in, which is I get a lot of people who are, I'm coming because it's you. I love that. And I also want to make sure, like, how can you own your uniqueness, get that element of we're coming because of you, and they're also coming because of themselves, that they see that there's something through you that is able to be translated as a result of spending time with you. I
agree with that. I mean, I had someone who told me once that the reason why she left my company was because I left my company, and that she was there because of me. And you know, like I noodle those pieces of feedback all the time. This group has been incredible to me this last week and a half, and I'm just, I think, figuring out how to bottle that up so it becomes integrated in myself, so I actually am that person that they all see, is the process, I guess.
Yeah, and we'll talk through some things that can help with that process here. I'm glad that you brought all this and presenced all this into the room here. Jessica, I'm seeing your hand.
Yeah, I'm just suddenly getting very, very emotional, and I just feel like it's an important time to bring that. So what's coming up for me at the moment is around this confidence idea, because I feel like I'm a visionary, and I feel like I'm a priestess, and I feel like there's something that comes through me. And the last time I really touched that, I was very, very ill, and I was like psychotic. So I get really scared to touch my brilliance because I'm terrified it means I'm not well. And so, you know, it's really healing hearing Georgie talking about crystallizing and the distinctions, because I'm rushing, and I feel I've just started over this last 2 years. I've come off all social media. I've deeply connected. I've been healing from that profoundly traumatic experience. And I know that that's what I can bring. But when I get into this moment of visionary, of the poet, of speaking my truth, I'm terrified, because I'm scared that I'm going back to some kind of thing that's seen as so wrong, so stigmatized, and yet I had the most profound breakthroughs, spiritual awakening in that time. So I don't know why I'm saying it. I'm saying it because I'm showing up, and I'm saying it because your brilliance brings out a wanting me to share and explore mine, but I'm frightened. I'm really frightened.
I just want to acknowledge you, Jessica. Thank you very much here. I'm really allowing that to hit here. I'm not going to spend, and we've had conversations before, so you've seen me do this. But I'm not going to address this in particular. I think you're getting what you need to get from saying this here. Keep practicing, keep playing, and see where else comes out. But I really just want to acknowledge you for stepping into the invitation and creating the invitation for yourself to really make that come out. This is what it's about. And I also hear you. So I get really curious. There'll be lots of time to continue talking, but just feel the love right now. And thank you for letting us be able to see you here.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's what it's about, is owning it in public. I haven't had a chance to own that. So thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to share that.
Absolutely. And I'm not going to lie, I was so intrigued when you're like, I am a priestess. I'm like, yeah, I'm really curious about that. I'm really curious about that. This also comes with the don't be a potato part.
That's going to come out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad it did. I'm glad it did. Let's keep playing. Let's keep playing. All right. And let's like I'm facilitating however I can through the Zoom space. If you need to grab my attention, just grab it. Like unmute, whatever it is here. Like if that's you, let that be. Let that be the case here. All right. All right. So we're gonna play here today. I want to talk about something before we get into. I have some things around like, all right, how do you actually go about cultivating everyday brilliance? We talked a little bit about not being a potato, and we can play a little bit more with that. But I want to talk about just calling out the barriers to actually bringing this to life, to actually showing up in the world and owning what it is that you uniquely bring to life. I want to call out the potential costs that it might have. Jessica, when you brought that up, what came up for me was like this feeling of safety. Y'all may not know this, but like in most situations, I'm looking at things as a life or death situation, whether it's my physical life or like my livelihood, you know. And that idea, the idea of like, if I really showed up as me, you know, if I really brought what I thought was a gift to this area, would that take away from my livelihood? Could that actually end up being something that ends everything that I've built so far? You see, as one of the people who feel like an outlier, I think I used to be a math person. So when I was an actuary, I think about data sets. And so you can see a graph and the data set is all there, and there's a bunch of dots all in one area. And then there's just like this one random blip that's out there. You know, when I think about myself as an outlier, like I'm the blip. And it's like, and there's this very precarious area where it's like, if I go too far, perhaps I wouldn't be considered a part of this data set anymore. Like I can be here as long as I'm just edgy enough, but if I edge out, then I'll be in a completely different data set. They would think I won't even count. And if that happens, will I miss out on opportunities? Will I no longer get the chance to do things? And so that's really presence for me. And I just want to just give us a chance to, you can, please put in the chat, like what's your flavor of this? What's the element here that really might keep you from really allowing yourself to really be fully all out? And just let's witness each other in this space. Let's witness like what is here. One of my favorite things when it comes to belonging is a definition that comes from Peter Block, who wrote Community, the Structure of Belonging. I look at him as taking Rich's work and putting it in the community space. And one of the things that he says is it's the gift of us as leaders to take it's the job of us as leaders to take the gifts of the margin and bring them into the center. Take the gifts of the margin and bring them into the center. So I want to make sure that we are finding these elements, these things that we feel are us on our own, and actually continue to unearth it and let it be seen, so that we can move around with it from a different perspective. And here goes the thing. The core of, I actually had a conversation with Hayden. Hayden was walking me through my Enneagram, and this concept came up. I ran into a kind of a wall with him, and he laid it out for me straight. He's like, Niiamah, you're a very feeling person. Let's get into let's get into the thinking center. Logically, you work with outliers, pioneers, and mavericks, and there's an element of it that is is inherently lonely. Rich captured that right now in the introduction. It's like it is inherently lonely, and there's a part of you that desires to be able to be distinct, to be able to be like unique in that space. And I think that a lot of us are on this call here because of that. And there's something in here I just need to call out. If you are actually successful with this, such that you are one like that, so you are one of the only, one of the first, or one of a kind. If you do stand out in that place, there's a chance that you will be really at the core one of, I know how I want to say this. The path to this here is not about being different. I've had conversations with people who feel like the path to like really standing out is about being different, and it's not the case. The path here is really about just allowing yourself to be you and let that come out fully. That's actually harder. It's easy to it's a lot easier to be different, to put on some other element in order to make that happen. But the decision to be you and the courage to be you is like, it's not an easy game to play. It's interesting. I think of myself as a coach, and I talk about this kind of stuff, and I'm like, am I going to be like diminished as someone who's like, I call it pop authenticity. You know, it's like, be you, go out there, you know, like, you got this. Yeah. And I'm like, what's missing from that is really addressing the real challenges that are involved in this here. Like, I can say don't be a potato, but like being a jackfruit at a potato party might be really, really scary. And there might be some costs that come along the way. So are you willing to pay those costs? Generally speaking, for me, I tend to reframe it like, cost is just not interesting to me. There's no reason to just pay for something. I expect to get a return on every investment that I make. And if it's only a cost and I'm not getting that return, it's not an interesting place. So I look at it to say, what's the investment that you're willing to make? And I want to just kind of call that out right now. Aaron, I'm seeing hands. Jen, I'm seeing hands. Aaron, let's start with you.
Yeah, Niiamah, because this is bringing up this really interesting like paradox of being myself, being uniquely me. And then, but the double-edged sword of that is that I view myself as different or separate from other people, or almost judgmental. And so I'm playing with that paradox right now, to be uniquely me, like Gandhi, and let go of any judgment or viewing myself as different. That's kind of the shadow side of that, this concept that you're helping me see.
Awesome. Do you mind if we play with that really quickly, Aaron? And I know I saw Jen's hand as well. Do you mind if we play with that really quickly?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, because it gets me into, in a bit, I'll share what I call my 5 courageous practices for cultivating everyday brilliance. But there's, to me, that's really juicy. The element of like, okay, the fear of being judged for being different, right? And you called it your shadow. So let's just for this purpose right now, what is the gift that lies within like the fact that you that you can be judging, or that you look at being different in that way? Like, I just want to just explore for you here to see like, what is that small thing that either allows for that to take place, or the gift that you get from it?
I think that's the wisdom of that is my brilliance, my unique gifts in the way that I communicate, and the way that I'm able to move people. Awesome. Do me a favor, because I'm going to go potato on that one there. I really want to understand this, Aaron. Like, I think you are phenomenal, right? And I don't want to leave here with just like this general thing of like, Aaron's a great coach that like is able to do this stuff. Like, I want to really get to see you. So if we were really going to see you right now, like, just hit me up with another layer of that. I think one of the things I do really well, my zone of genius, is going deep with people and into moments where they're moved at a deep level because of some kind of traumatic experience or some kind of thing that they didn't see before. And I'm able to be with them in those moments at a really, really deep level. And I'm able to hold their hearts in that moment.
Thank you for that, Aaron. Thank you. You know what you, I'm going to play, if you're good, I'd like to play just a little bit more, but I want to call out something really quickly. This one right here, this one is practice number 1. We'll just make this the first practice so I'll just change my number. The first practice is, I say, don't settle for holding space, create space. All right. Don't settle for holding space, create space. Wendy and I had actually a conversation about this like a year and a half ago. So it's been evolving since that last conversation, Wendy. And the idea here with this is really to broaden the holding space element. So in finding out your everyday brilliance, this is the kind of stuff that like you can just walk up, you wake up, you're having a bad day and people are still like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad that you're here. Like that's what I'm talking about when I talk about everyday brilliance. It's I didn't really need to prepare, but I was tossed into this conversation and it turns out that I changed someone's life, right? Like this topic became really important because every time they're like, you can do a brilliance session, I'm like, what could it be? What's a thing? What's the most brilliant? What's all of my brilliance? I don't know. And like, I'm in this space and like, how do I do it? And it just, I'm like, wait, I feel brilliant. Like in every other thing I do, what am I doing? What's here? What's missing? And it really came that element of like, oh wait, I walk around with brilliance with me all the time, which is why it's so freaking hard to see it. And so what if I didn't have to like create it as a separate thing and hold it as a separate thing? I could just allow it out. Like part of my brilliance is like, I don't know. I didn't know where this conversation was going to go, but I'm like, I would be good if there's 0 or 30. Like I got that. We'll just let whatever happens happen as a result. So this everyday brilliance part, I wanted like, I call out the holding space from the standpoint of it's really about paying attention to your emotions along the way. When are you bored? When are you sad? When are you angry? What are you upset? What makes you feel guilty, right? There are a lot of different clues in that. I'll say that again. When you're bored, sad, angry, upset, guilty, there are clues in that to your everyday brilliance. I recognize a lot for myself. I'm like, oh, this conversation's boring to me. Why? Oh, it's because like I've done this already. Like, what would it take to be able to bring it into a conversation that would actually really excite me? Or, oh man, I'm feeling guilty. That portals and I think it's like portals and shoots. I can't remember all the different games, but but like that conversation brought me to a place of like looking at all of the things that were on the shoots part of it. I can't remember what it was, and realizing just experiencing deep guilt around it, and deep guilt of like, oh my goodness, if for me it was like when I don't plan. I'm showing up in this space as a result of it. But when I don't plan, like things feel like they're a shoot. And I realized like, oh wait, there's actually some brilliance in there as well. Like I can actually go and just show up. So I want to just call that out in particular. Aaron, I'm not sure how this is going to go, but yeah, let's play with this here. Let's see if there's anything in this space for it. So the second courageous practice for cultivating everyday brilliance is to appreciate, celebrate, and value differences. Appreciate, celebrate, and value differences. This happens both externally and internally. And each of these here, like this is actually an action. It's not like the appreciation of, it's not like the state of being of it. It's like, let's do it. Like appreciate, celebrate, and value the differences. And that's like, so from this place here, I would love to, Aaron, if you're good with this here, I would love for us to be able to reflect a little bit back to Aaron. Just one person or one person I think would be enough. But like whether it's in what he said right now or what you know about Aaron from any of your experience of him right now, I'd love to just be able to give him a mirror of either the gift that he has given you or this one actually, this is, I have to say thank you to Wendy. I'm so happy you're here. I learned this from the source team. It was the first time I got a chance to experience it here. But to really be able to give some reflection back to him so that he can see just a little bit more of himself and own it from that place, right? So the way that we can state it is this, Aaron, what I get about you is, or Aaron, the impact of you on me, and you can be like the impact of your share, the impact of whatever it is, but the impact of you on me is this. In this one sentence, 1 or 2 sentences, let him know. And Aaron, if you're open to this here, my ask is that you simply receive and allow that to work as it needs to work on you. Are you open to this overall? Are you open to receiving this? Are you in a place of reception?
Yeah, I'm in practicing now. Thanks.
Okay, great. Thank you for saying that. Like, because it's because we get clues back, everyone. We get clues back to what our everyday brilliance is. And most of the time we're ninja chopping it away. Oh, that's thank you. I'll pass that on to the next thing. Or it wasn't me, it was my team. We have to find that place to actually be able to receive it so that it can come in. So does anyone have anything that they'd like to share with Aaron? I saw hands come up really quickly. Carolina, is it Carolina or Carolina?
It's Carolina.
Carolina,
Yeah.
I saw you first.
Thank you for asking.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What would you like to share with Aaron? And please direct it directly to Aaron.
Yeah. So Aaron, your gift to me is graciousness. Yesterday, you wrote a note to us of why you weren't there. And that touched me. That one, you took the time to do that, but the words that you expressed in that you needed to take care of you, and in taking care of you, you're the best for others.
Thank you for that. Thank you. And I invite anyone else that has anything to share with Aaron to practice appreciating, celebrating, and valuing differences by sending it to him however you can. We won't bring it all into this place here, but I do love that we're in the practice of this here, right? Carolina, one of the things that I will offer back to you, and this is one of the reasons why I love, appreciate, celebrate, and value, is that we tend to only see these things in others because there's some information in it for ourselves as well. There may have been other people who received that same exact letter, but that did not have felt graciousness, for example. So my impression is there's graciousness comes. I'm seeing something there. You're on mute. I'll let you have your experience. If you want to unmute, you can. If you want to just have that experience, take that.
Oh, wow. Didn't see that coming. I did not see that coming. Yeah. And I think for me, graciousness is something that the world needs so much of, right? We talk about empathy and understanding, but this piece of graciousness that people are too busy and everybody just, keeps running and does things and doesn't take the moment to stop. I just think it's so powerful and we need so much more of it. Oh.
Thank you for that. Thank you for letting us see you here. Thank you for being an embodiment.
Thank you for actually letting, it's hard for me sometimes. It's interesting. In our little groups, I'm very chatty Cathy, and all of a sudden when it becomes this bigger forum, I kind of just I think the first thing you said, I was like, where's the corner? I can't find the corner quick enough, right? And it's just, there's something about this dynamic. And I think the finding your brilliance, you touched on something earlier, and it was, I can't remember what it was, but it made me think that if I truly express my brilliance, that means that I become the center, and I am so not comfortable with that. Even though I've been in boardrooms, that's the craziest thing, but I don't like being the center. And that's probably what scares me to step out again. Okay, it does. It's not probably, it does. So thank you for that. Thank you for the gift you gave me, Aaron.
I love how this plays out. Yeah, Carolina, thank you. Keep playing out. Just so you know, I'm grabbing you on my Zoom screen, and I'm moving you right into the center of my Zoom screen right here. So at least for me, for the remainder of this, you are right in the center. All right. Enjoy practicing with that. Enjoy what that might give you. All right.
I got really warm all of a sudden.
Yeah. That feeling of allowing yourself to be seen in that place. Mm. Enjoy it. Take the warmth as things come up. Have your space. If you want to share any more, feel free. But take your space with this here. Thank you. I love, appreciate, celebrate, and value. If you spend any time with me, you'll find that I'm constantly sharing gratitude. Part of it is a selfish thing. I'm if I share it, I will learn something about myself. What do I value about Angela? What do I value about Jen? What do I value about Katerina? Like it's constant. It's a constant feedback loop. And this goes back to Dorothy, a bit of what you were saying. It's like in the practice of appreciating others, it helps me. It's like it's appreciate and value, right? It helps me. It says like there's a value to this here. And what has come as a result of it is that it allows me to do my own ownership of it. It allows me to do my own ownership. There's nowhere else in the world where you can get Niiamah unless you come here. That's it. You know, like there's no one out there that can out Niiamah. And like, it's actually, oh gosh, I have a practice of when it comes to my mind and I don't want to say it, I have to say it. So here we go. Like we're in this space that's part of Rich's community. And true to chameleon form, I had spent a lot of time seeing, okay, I'm now in 4PC. What does depth mean here? Oh, okay. And I would go to Rich and I would like try and take that depth and be like, oh, you want depth? Let me bring it. Here we go, smoldering depth. And then one day I realized, I was like, oh crap, like that's the game that Rich plays. I can't out-Rich in his own community. Like it's just not gonna happen. And it was one of the things that actually freed up the space to just go out and say, now, if I'm gonna be in this space here, like what is the unique thing that I bring here? I don't think I've ever really shown up this way in this space before. And it's fun for me. And it's easy for me. And it is clear and it is defining, and I can go up to people and say, just so you know, when you work with me, it will be like this. And if it doesn't work for you, that's okay. But there's a reason why like people choose to work with me. There's a reason why people choose to work with me, because they cannot get this anywhere else. I dare them to try. I am 1 in 7 billion. The odds are really good in my favor. Takes us to number 3, courageous, what did I call it? Courageous practice for cultivating everyday at all. I'm going to go through these next ones fairly quickly just so we can have some of these here. But like, honestly, it's not the words that are here. It's the experience that we're having, you know, it's the experience that we're having. Like, that's really the brilliance there, right? Otherwise you can just listen to a podcast. Like you're here for a reason. Let's make sure we're actually in that space. Let's see. All right. I'll share a link afterwards. Matt has it teed out, but I think I wanted to spend a time. Yeah, Matt, you know, it's only like 37 seconds or something like that, right? Something short. Matt, we're going to show a video just to change it up a little bit anyway. And the thing here is that it's based on a TV show called Game of Thrones. There are spoilers. So if you haven't watched it or you're like, I want to watch it or something, just like, I don't know, walk away for 37 seconds and then we'll come back in here. All right. But Matt, if you can go and share that really quickly, we'll get in there.
You stand in the presence of Daenerys Stormborn of House Targaryen, rightful heir to the Iron Throne, rightful queen of the Andals and the First Men, protector of the Seven Kingdoms, the mother of dragons, the Khaleesi of the Great Grass Sea, the Unburnt, the breaker of chains.
This is Jon Snow.
We can end it here. This is Jon Snow, right? Own it all. Own it all. So that's one of the things that has been coming up in terms of cultivating the everyday brilliance. Someone says something comes up, and I own it in the moment. And I want to invite you to own it as well. It might be a really small thing. It could be a very large thing. It could be core to who you are. I'm a priestess. Great, you know? And there's all these different things that can come along with it. What I love about Own It All is that along the way, she kept evolving and taking on more and more titles, but at no point did she ever go out and say, I'm like trying to cut it into anything. She's like, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I've done this. Here we go. Like, bring it, you know? there was just this, and it was really fun because I love that. I love that whoever edited it added the music and everything. But it is there's humor in the element of the other. Now, on the other side of it, it's also really beautiful. You can play that in both directions, right? There is something about like being in integrity with yourself and like, you know what? I'm Jon Snow. Boom. So if you choose to own that, this is the thing about me. Like, it's a space. It's really hard to be this inclusive, but this is the level that I play. It's having space for both sides. Don't be a potato, but if you are a potato, you better own that potatoiness. You know, if you're Jon Snow, the reason that wasn't powerful was because like, he's Jon Snow. But if he owned his stuff, it was like, nice to meet you. I'm Jon Snow. Would have been completely like, it would have had a different feel to it as well. So just like, I want to put both of those elements out there, but give you a chance to really own all, like just own it all, and you'll see it. Like it just shows up. Someone will say something like, you know what? One of my, I love this. I love being in Rich's space because he brought out MSU, make shit up. And since I started seeing that, that's why I came up with the 5 courageous. I went back and I was listening to the Prosperous Coach the other day, and he's like, here goes the 18 fearless disciplines. I was like, you can do that? Cool. Here goes the 5 courageous practices, you know? But like just in the space of like owning it, you know? And this, I love this place that we're in. This is thought leadership. This is something that at some point will go out on through to my world. And we're playing with it, and we're owning where it can come from. So I think we've done 3 right now of the courageous practices. Thank you, Matt, for giving me a time check. I'm going to go until the top of the hour. I think that's just when we're generally done. So the elements, the things that I've talked about so far, don't settle for holding space, create your space, right? The next part is appreciate, celebrate, and value differences. The third one, own it all. The fourth one, it's tied a bit to what we were looking at earlier with the emotions, but it's experience the room without you. Experience the room without you. One transformative moment for me, it came from the 4PC, the Rich Living community, when someone came to me and she's like, oh, I was Nemo at the time. I hadn't changed my name to Niiamah. She's like, oh, Nemo, like, I get it. You've never experienced the room without you. You don't know what's missing when you're not there. You don't know what's missing when you're not there. And that was one of the things that just opened up so much for me. I can't experience me. At least it's not easy to do that. So the elements that come along there is to start to get in the practice of what might it be like to be in the room without you. I love to watch video recordings of spaces where I'm not there. I like to just think, okay, if I wasn't here, what would be missing from this experience? What do I bring that wouldn't be in this room otherwise? You know, Carolina walks into a room and there's some graciousness that just comes with her, whether or not she's actively thinking about it. Catherine walked into a room and Hope has a new, it's just there, you know? And the thing is, we haven't been in rooms without those experiences, or we as individuals don't get a chance to experience ourselves without us there. And so the questions I like to ask are, what would it be like if you weren't there? And the second question I like to ask is, what if you already belonged? That's the reason that I like that question. That one question is the reason why I've continued over and over and over again in Rich's world, because he told a story where he asked that question to someone. And when I was feeling deep in my own imposter syndrome, I asked myself the question, what if I already belonged? And it changed the way I showed up for the rest of the intensive. And it actually continued to help me continue to grow. And I still have to ask myself that question. I love looking for places where I feel like I don't belong. My general compass is like, I'm not supposed to be here. If I'm supposed to be in a place, I immediately get bored. But I'm not supposed to be here is a general compass there. I'm gonna leave you with, I think, the last one for today, and then we'll close out. The last one here when it comes to this is, I might have just seen a hand. I'm not sure if I missed it. Okay, I see you, Jen. Yes, that's right. I did say something about you earlier. So let me say this last one, and then let's bring it in for some wrap up. The fifth courageous practice is to model the world you want to see. Model the world you want to see. Model what it's like to be in a world where it's not just you, but everyone is bringing out their differences. Everyone else is bringing out their brilliance on a regular basis. I think that's part of why this session ended up being the way that the session went. Like, this entire time, it's just been me modeling. Like, we're like, you're going to get an experience of being in all of this for yourself. You're going to get an experience of bringing out your gifts and being with that there. Right, to the point of creating space. We set agreements off the beginning. The way that we're interacting with each other. I constantly go out. I think it was even the first connection corner. I was like, "Welcome to my world," like constantly creating new worlds. And it's also really important because like we are in this specific container where it's like, oh well, in this space I can be this way. That's not going to be useful to you, and it's not going to turn into it's not going to be lucrative, profitable, or like impactful for others if there's only certain spaces where you can be you. There's only certain spaces where your brilliance would be allowed to come out. So that there, when I say model the world you want to see, it's actually a call and an invitation for you to take ownership of creating the spaces that allow you to fly. I'm constantly interrupting conversations. My favorite was 45 minutes in a conversation and saying, oops, I forgot to set an agreement about this. I'm going to hide nothing and hold nothing back. Are you good with that? I'm here to serve you rather than please you. Are you good with that? And I have a track record of having life-changing conversations. And at this point in my life, I refuse to have anything less than that. Are you open to the possibility of this being a life-changing conversation? So I'll put all those into the app. I'm seeing some things there. I'm also going to download the chat so I can respond back and follow up from there. Jen, I want to make sure we hear you. We're going to end at the top of the hour, but I'd love to make sure we hear what you have to. Please bring it into this space.
Yeah, I'll do it really quick. And thank you for seeing that. I wanted to share this for you because it was an insight that I got when you were sharing about your data set and how if you feel like you're the outlier, what's going to happen with that. But what came to me when you were saying that was, when you're that outlier, maybe you're creating a new data set. You're part of that. You're part of something new at that point. And yesterday in small group, we talked about, kind of the, belonging plus standing out. And maybe that's a whole new set of data points that you are creating in your community. There's a book, if anybody hasn't read it, called We Are All Weird. And it's about how everybody strives to be unique, but in being unique, you create a whole new community of people that are standing out as themselves. So I kind of see this whole community as being that community of uniqueness that doesn't exist in the world without this group.
Love it, Jen. Love it. And like take that with you as you continue out in the world and you model out yourself. There's something like I got to see you because of that response, because of that's what came out to you. I'm like, oh, there's something important there. So I'm going to end this session here since we're at the top of the hour here. I'm deeply appreciative of you. If there's one thing that you can take out of here, my answer would just be to continue celebrating, to continue appreciating, continue valuing one another. It is one of the biggest returns of investment that you can make. All right. I deeply appreciate you all. I'm so glad that none of you are potatoes and every one of you can be your potato self if you choose to be. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Great job. Amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks. It was awesome. Thanks, Niiamah.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
It was amazing. Thank you.
Absolutely. Keep asking questions. Like, let me know later on, like not in this space, but let me know later on. I would love to continue to evolve this. This is helpful for me as well. Dorothy, I have some more things I'm thinking about specifically with that. Yeah.
I look forward to that.
Awesome.
Thank you, Niiamah.
All right. Thank
Great
you.
to experience you and your brilliance.
Yeah, it's fun to play.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'll see you all.